All right, everybody, here we are in Witcher 3. Got the full RTX update, so it's all the latest and greatest stuff. Got the 5080 paired with the 7800 X3D as usual, and we're on the current low settings at 4K resolution. We're just going to see how it fares. All right, so right here, about 93 FPS. It kind of swings up into the low hundreds here and there, but as we go into this vegetation, it's going to dip down a little bit. But right here on low, you're doing just fine, of course, but you can get this looking a lot better. Selected this area, A, because it was kind of the beginning of the game, and I haven't had a save on a PC yet, and B, you got this very nice water and sunset for the ray tracing to really show its stuff. So let's just get into it and keep on going to the very next level. I'm going to go over to medium. And let's just see what that does. Of course, it does not activate any sort of ray tracing. I've got all this junk turned off. It doesn't really affect anything, but all this stuff down here goes up to medium. And of course, let's jump back into it. So let's see what that does. So that gives us about 100 FPS, still 90s. So let's go over here where we were earlier. Okay, so it does dip down into about the 80s on that medium, but still looking just fine. We're really not going to have any trouble until we get to that ray tracing. And then we'll probably be able to take care of that just fine with some upscaling. So right here, I'm not too worried about this title. I think it's going to be just fine, but I've got my torch out to give myself a little bit more lighting just to kind of stress it out just that much more. All right, so let's go into the high setting here. So let's go down and check it out. So let's go into video. They've got this thing very buried. All right, so let's go over to high. And high just does the same thing that medium does. It just cranks all this stuff up here to high. So easy peasy, right? So let's go into it now. Not going to see a big swing. These settings really aren't too hard to run. That ray tracing is really where it's going to start to punish the GPU a little bit, but it does hold up okay. So if you're into the ray tracing, you definitely stay to the end. It'll kind of impress you with what this game, even though the age of the game, but it'll impress you with the look of the game, I guess. So the RT update really is quite nice. All right, so it definitely brings a whole new layer to this game. Gave it a fresh coat of paint. So yeah, we're just gonna keep on rolling through it. Let's go to the very next level here and check out what the very next ultra setting will do. So we're gonna go to ultra, and that basically maxes it all out to ultra. So everything down here stayed the same other than the bottom part here goes up to ultra. So still not a lot of movement, down in the high 70s now. So once we get to the ray tracing portion, we'll start to get some numbers that might lend themselves to needing some upscaling. But right through here, again, game looks beautiful. I've always loved this game. Played it on the PlayStation a long time ago, and I've never played it on the PC. So I'm really anxious to go through it with the RT stuff that the PC version can do. All right, so yeah, anyway, let's just keep going and go to that very first level of RT and see what we can expect there. So let's come into it, go to graphics. All right, so we're going to drop down. I didn't mean to do that. We're going to drop down and go to RT. So what that does is it activates RT, but it puts on performance. So you don't get reflection, shadows, and ambient occlusion. I don't really know what exactly it's doing other than this global illumination, but again, that is set to performance, not quality. So everything else down here is the same. So anti-aliasing is off, so we're not using any upscaling at all. Everything is off as far as any sort of dynamic resolution scaling, so it's not going to be doing any kind of like wizardry behind our back that we don't know about. All this goes up to Ultra Plus. I'm not exactly sure if that's an additional setting or if that just is reflective of going to RT. So all that's to say, here we are with the first level of RT on native, and we are at 53 FPS, 50 FPS here. Now, it would benefit from some upscaling here, but I really want to just continue forward and go to the next level of RT Ultra and see what that does, because you are around 60 here. So if you're, just not wanting to upscale at all, you could kick on frame generation at this point. But, really with the advancement in upscaling, this is DLSS 4. They've really put a lot into bringing this game back to life after so much time. It looks really good, and it upscales just fine. It runs like any modern title should, despite its age. So yeah, we're just going to keep on running through it and see what all we can expect if we kick it over to that very next level of ray tracing, which will punish us a little bit. It's not going to be too bad. I've had the ability to kind of go through this a little bit already. All right, so ray tracing goes, of course, from the global illumination up to quality, and then it turns on all of your other stuff here. Reflections, which is going to be the big hitter. Shadows, which isn't as bad, and ambient occlusion, which isn't as bad as reflections, but reflections is definitely the one that just really tanks things. So everything else is the same, leaving Hairworks off for now. We're just going to keep on going through it. So as you can see here, we're down to 36 FPS, and that's not going to be anything that anyone would necessarily want to play this title at. I feel like right here is about the point where we need to do some upscaling and see how that does for us, because mid 40s, while it's, you know, playable, I guess, I don't see many people wanting to play it with mid 40s. So especially when it drops down into the 30s. So yeah, ray tracing ultra is absolutely no joke. But I mean, look at this grass and stuff. It looks so freaking real. Yeah, this game has, you know, been just rejuvenated with this RT update, and I've been wanting to test it forever, but have just not gotten around to it until now. So yeah, right here we are looking like 43, 42, 39. So let's kick on some upscaling and just see what that does for us. It should help us out a good bit. So let's go into graphics here and kick it down to, let's see, dynamic resolution scaling. We don't want that, we just want DLSS here. Then we're going to go to quality and see what that does. So everything else was left alone. We just went to a quality upscale, and right here we're in the low 60s. So that gave us a nice playable experience just by going to quality. And again, at 4K, you know, you're really pushing the limit as far as what your eyes can even perceive. You know, 4K is absolutely gorgeous. You know, so if you're thinking that this is the resolution you want to play at, you know, this card combo with the CPU can absolutely do it. We got some floating rocks here. That's weird. Reminds me of Ark with all the floating stuff, with all the glitches. All right, so anyway, we are going to just keep on going and see what we can expect if we run down here. Look at that nice ray tracing, though. That water is so freaking pretty. Oh man, that is what I love PC hardware for right here. Is just pushing things, you know, all the way into that zone of like realistic settings. Like, just looks so freaking good. But yeah, let's check out some more upscaling here and jump back into our options. Go down to video, go down to graphics. They've really got it buried. All right, so let's come down here and go to balanced. And let's see what balance can perform like. We are at 79 FPS. That gives us a very nice lift. Usually balance doesn't give you that much of a lift, you know, around 15 to 20 FPS here. So that's pretty nice. Balance is looking really good. Keeping us in 60 range pretty well. I'm going to run into this forest just to kind of see what we can expect as far as more vegetation versus water. All right, so still in the 60s, dropping down a little bit in this area. Seems to be a little bit harder to run, probably just due to all the different, you know, waving twigs and weeds and all that stuff that eats up processing power. Because out here we're running a little bit better, even though we've got some pretty hardcore reflections on this water. So yeah, it does look really good. Looks just fine. Let's go up to performance and just see what we can do as far as topping it out. Because performance is going to look really good. Even at 4K, that still looks really, really nice. Let's come down here. Where did it go? All right, I'm blowing right past all my stuff here. There we go. All right, so let's go to performance and see what that does. All right, so that gives us a little bit more, not as much from quality to balance. Balance to performance gives you a little bit of a lift. We're seeing like mid 80s now. And of course, you know, out here we're seeing some 90s. So it all, you know, kind of depends on, like everything else, where you're at, what all you're doing, what your scenery looks like, number of NPCs, all kind of things matter. So you want to get a setting that gives you plenty of headroom. You know, you don't want to run at 60 in a easy area and then drop down into like the high 30s in a more difficult area and have to jump in, do your settings and all that stuff. I like to kind of get something that's gives me a little bit of insurance, so I kind of like to be in the 70s to 80s anyway for that reason. So yeah, this is going to you know, be a pretty viable setting if you don't want to use frame generation. Now if you do want to use frame generation, let's go check it out with some frame generation turned on, but without any sort of upscaling. So let's bring all this back down. So that's off. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's turn that frame gen on and see if we can go back to native. I just want to see if we can do that out of curiosity. Okay, so there we go. So frame gen is on, I believe. Let me double check. This is so... Okay, so frame generation is on, and this is your... this is right on top of DLAA, or, you know, not DLAA, but basically no upscaling. And to be honest, it looks better with a little bit of upscaling, because out here, I don't know if it's coming through on the YouTube compression or not, but as I move the camera back and forth, this vegetation is getting some like shimmering and flickering. And I've seen this before specifically on Wukong. It's just whenever you don't upscale, it has some sort of weird issue rendering the light around smaller things like leaves and grass. So you get this kind of like shutter effect, like this just kind of blinking. I'm not sure if it's coming through, but you can see it on the bushes and the grass. But once I do upscaling, that should go away. I say should because it does on Wukong, so let's see if that's the case here. So we're going to go over to DLSS, and we're going to go to quality, and let's see if that gets rid of all that shimmering. So yeah, so all that shimmering is now largely gone. I'm seeing a little bit of it in his kind of chainmail somewhat, but you know, it's still doing a little bit here and there, but it's definitely way better. So anyway, just something to kind of call out and pay attention to. There are settings where using a little bit more upscaling gets rid of some of the oddities of especially like really hardcore path tracing and ray tracing when you're in conjunction with frame generation. So, you know, that's just something to kind of keep in mind as well. So right there, that was, we just took a look at quality. Let's jump into it and see what we can do at performance with that, at balanced with that frame generation turned on. All right, so that'll give us 120 FPS, and this was around 80 before, so definitely getting a nice lift out of it. So yeah, we're not getting any of the shimmeriness or anything like that. Everything looks really good at balance. This is probably where I would go with it. If you're seeing any shimmering on the YouTube feed, it's probably just because YouTube is locked at 60 FPS and the game is obviously not. So you are going to get some anomalies that I really can't do anything about. You just kind of have to trust me with what I see. But yeah, once I went to balanced, it got rid of all that shimmering other than in his chainmail. But once I went to quality, it got rid of all that shimmering other than his chainmail. But in balanced with frame generation, it actually looks perfectly normal. So really balanced is a great setting because it still looks incredibly sharp, and you don't have any of those weird anomalies, and you're able to just completely max out the whole thing. It looks so freaking good. Look at this water. I mean, you can't beat that. That looks nice. All right, so let's see what do we got left? Performance. Let's go into it. One more setting, and then we'll be able to check out maybe Hairworks and see what that does. I don't think it'll be too bad. So let's go to performance. I don't really want to go down to ultra performance. It starts to look kind of crappy, but yeah, anyway, at performance, you're in the well over 140 FPS here on performance DLSS, full ray tracing, and this is due to that frame generation as well, you know, getting our frames up. So yeah, PCL though, this whole time, I mean, right now we're at 40 milliseconds. It looks like we're, you know, just not going to have any sort of issues at all. This does have NVIDIA Plus Boost turned on, so that is largely due to that. It helps out your response time tremendously. So it's been a pretty good run through it. So let's see what Hairworks does. I just, you know, that's the one setting that is kind of odd in this title. Not many games use NVIDIA Hairworks. It's not really even called out. So let's just go in and see what it does. So I don't think it'll be too bad. It's usually, it came out a while ago, so I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a big deal at all. So yeah, so Hairworks gives us about the same. You know, I don't think it's going to be a meaningful impact. You know, to be honest, it looks fine. It looks about like any other game looks. Like I said, Hairworks is quite old. I remember it coming out a long time ago, and it was amazing then. But to be honest, right now it just kind of looks like any other game. They just call it Hairworks now and give you a toggle for it. But yeah, that's been a pretty good look here at The Witcher 3 with the RT update on the 5080. If you like this kind of thing, please consider subscribing. If you're, you know, a repeat offender, thank you for coming back. I really appreciate all of the comments and likes and shares that I get to look at. It's really cool. It makes me feel good. So thank you all for showing me the love, and we will see you in the very next video. Peace.